Son, the Holy Spirit, one God, amen. So for those that don't know, today we're talking about blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Okay, so that's the second one of the Beatitudes from Matthew. Alright, so the Beatitudes are found in the Bible, small introduction, in two spots. In Matthew chapter 5 and Luke chapter 6. So here's the question, why would we weep or mourn in Psalms? Like, why is it that we're not sort of say, blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted? As in the mourning is part of this life. Why? Okay. First thing, the pain is here to stay. We know that it's a given in this world. Okay, does anybody here disagree with that? I think that as we live, and we've seen enough already, that even if we look at all the righteous, all the prophets, and all those that were closest to God, Moses, arch-prophet, David, a man after my own heart, all these amazing people, all of them have suffered and seen pain in their life, and persecution and everything else. Okay, so even they were not spared. Okay, even if we look around today, if we talk about free will, and if we talk about, if man has free will, that means if somebody wants to go behead another person, they can. If somebody wants to go out and be like Hitler and exterminate whoever, they can. That's part of that free will. That's the same free will that man can use to praise God, to love one another, to go out. That's what makes us not robots, right? But as long as that exists in the world, as long as Satan is busy, there will always be that pain, there will always be that tribulation. Okay? Here comes a beautiful part of the Bible. Okay? In Galatians chapter 5, it talks about the fruit of the Spirit. It says, alright, if you have the Spirit working in your heart, the Spirit will produce this amazing fruit. What? Joy, beautiful. Love, amazing. Kindness, gentleness. And you put this like weird one in the middle, long suffering. Love, we were going good just before, man. Look, joy, love, kindness. Why long suffering? It's because the person, a good Christian, the Spirit is working in their heart. They can suffer long. They can go the distance. They can persevere where others can't, because they have that connection with the true rock, which is Christ. Okay? We'll go a step further and say that the suffering actually makes all the other fruit useful or necessary. Okay, like for example, okay, gentleness. If everybody's fine, there's no problems, no tribulations. Where's there's no need whether you're gentle or not. Kindness, same thing. Joy. If times are all good, where's the joy? But you want to see the real long suffering and you want to see the real Christian? Come look at St. Paul when he's about to be dragged off to be beheaded, he's in prison, and he says, rejoice in the Lord always, and again I say rejoice. That's the difference. That's not joy because your times are good. That's joy because your source of joy is inside you. Okay? And it's that long suffering that helps us to persevere. Saint Marina the monk, if nobody knows it, okay? What happened is, I'll tell you the story very quickly. Okay? So Saint Marina the monk, her mum passed away, which was about 8 years old. I think she was very young. And so, again, this is a very quick part, alright? So don't judge, go with it, okay? And so it was just her and her father, and the father was like, okay, I love this world, I want to go to the monastery. Why don't you go in a convent and they'll raise you right and you live with Christ and I'll go live. And she's like, you're the only family I have in the world, I'm staying with you. Like, yeah, but I want to a monastery, they don't allow, women to come and stay over. So, alright? She cut her hair really short, dressed like a man, she's like, I'm coming with you to the monastery and I'm going to stay with you. Like, alright? Just come and stay with me. I hope nothing goes wrong. Okay. So they go to stay into the monastery, and so she lived there for a couple of years, and then her father passes away. Now she has no family left, and all these monks, she thinks she's a guy. They call her Marine. Okay. And so she just lived in the monastery and learned from the monks and lived in a cell and prayed and did her own thing and everything. So one day she grew up. These monks had business to do in the city, like they go and they sell their produce and stuff like that. It's something to do with the monastery. So they decided, 3 months, and they decided to take this young monk, Marine, with them into the city. Okay? They take him and they're like, okay, so we're going to go do this. Just stay in this innkeeper's house, like this hotel, sort of like motel keeper. He's a good Christian man. He always looked after the monks every time they came there. Alright, just stay here, we'll finish our business, come back, get you on the go. Okay, no problems. So monks' life, so they go into the motel room, waiting and so on, and they're just waiting for the monks. Okay, you get a vow of obedience, right? So the monks go do things, come back. In the meantime, this motel owner's daughter has sinned with a man, and she's fallen pregnant. And so she had to confront him, like, this is a catastrophe. Like, my dad's going to kill me. What's going to happen? He's like, well, I just got conscripted to go to war, so I'll be gone for ages. So together they came up with this plan to say that this young monk has raped the woman. And that way they can blame it on the young monk that stayed the night in the motel. Okay? No one knows that she's a woman, but So they blamed her. So she began showing. The father, like, what happened? Oh, this young man raped me. So the father went nuts, got all his family and everything, went down to the monastery, to the abbot. You know, I've looked after you guys. I've done all this stuff for you. How can you possibly do this to me? Is this how you repay me? Is this true Christian values? What happened? Oh, so and so and so happened. This person raped my daughter, and now this happened. So this was obviously like, to the abbot of the monastery, it's like, spitting in Christ's face. Like, how can you say, you've disgraced the cloth, you've disgraced monasticism, You're supposed to be the son of St. Anthony, the son of St. Macarius, all the greats, right? So, they got it, and like, these accusations. Now, as a monk, you say two things, generally, if you guys don't know, or same thing with nuns, I assume. But, one, the Bible will be in, so if they tell you something, say yes. And if somebody tells you off, even if it's not your fault, always say, forgive me, Father, I have sinned. Even if it's something that's not your fault, it's a way of humility. And so they were like, oh, look at all these accusations, you brought shame on the monastery, you did this. And he said, forgive me, Father, I've sinned. So he decided, enough. They kicked him out of the monastery, first him out. And then when the child was born, Father came and said, this son is born from sin, you take him, you look after him. Okay? Now, St. Marina had nobody else in the world, no other family, so she didn't know anywhere really other than the monastery. So she lived just outside the monastery doors, like just outside the wall. Found like a small cave, and she just sat there. And the same thing. And then she had a child to raise, and so a lot of the shepherds used to take care of the sheep out there. So they used to come and like kind shepherds, they go and say, here's a bit of milk for the kid, stuff like that. All they do is just sit and plait, palm leaves and sell the stuff for a little bit of money to pay for food for her and the son. So as the son grows slowly, and the years pass, okay, eventually the monks, the heart softened, and they came to the abbot and said, Father, it's been years and years now. Marine's sitting outside the cave by himself. At least for the sake of the little boy, who's now 7 or 8, you don't want him to drag him down the path of sin. So here's what we'll do. With your permission, we'll bring him back into the monastery. Not as a monk, as one of the workers. Right? And he'll live as one of the workers, and he'll stay here, and that's it. They'll work, and we'll have even more stringent stuff, like so they can't be around any guests or stuff. They have to be hidden. They have to do like twice as many chores and so on. They said, all right. So they told St. Marina and her son, and she was very happy. She gets to go back into the monastery, like the life she loved. Anyway, so she lived back in the monastery, and she did that. She lived as a worker, looked after, and her son grew up with the monks and so on. Anyway, came the day that she passed away. And then obviously, as a duty, so they come to wash the body as they do, to present it in a good state. Well, and then they realise she's a woman. And I'm guessing a whole lot of the deepest Kyriade swords that Lord have mercy you've ever heard in your life was sung. And so her body actually did a lot of miracles, including the monk that was blind and you could see, and the devil tormented the man and the woman that they came in the funeral and confessed everything. Like they became almost possessed. Okay? And so they confessed everything, and the abbot knew what he did, and they all judged. And it was just a funny story how, the shepherds of God knows what faith and God knows what upbringing were more kinder to this saint than monks and, the abbot. But boys, talk about this is the beautiful, beautiful story of long suffering. Whenever I think of long suffering, I think of Saint Marina the monk. Okay? As in someone who said, I don't know, Lord, why on earth you would give me this child. But if you've given me this child unwanted, I will look after it like it's a gift from God, because it is a gift from God. Okay? That's how God, if this is my cross to bear, I will bear it proudly. And I will look after this son, and I will present you out of this son that's not even related to me, an amazing monk who did become an amazing monk after that. Okay? And I'll present you with this son and give you as a gift. So always an amazing story to think about. And keep that saint in your mind when we talk about the rest of today, okay? Perseverance. To those who persevere to endure and overcome, they will receive the full benefits and gains from pain. Okay, the full benefits and gains from pain. But we talked before about those that endure, those that have long suffering, those that are really Christ-like and that hold on to God and go through and progress and are able to take on these trials, they gain the full measure of benefits from pain. So what are the benefits from this pain and from these tribulations? Okay, so we'll go through a few. The benefits of pain. The first thing is the relationship with Christ. The relationship with Christ when we are in pain is a lot stronger than at any other point. You know when they talk about the parable of the sower, Okay, there's a big part that they always leave out. Like, so the sower goes around, puts the seeds, that, like on the hard ground and the thorny ground and so on. Okay, the key to life is how do we turn that hard ground into that fertile ground that bears fruit. That's the key. That's the difficult part. If you talk about the ground, the Father say that's like the hearts and the minds of people. All right, how do we turn it? Pain softens us more than anything else that we know. Pain. Like, I say this quote first, this is a beautiful quote from C.S. Lewis. So he talks about pain insists upon being attended to. Okay, so if we're happy and everything is going good, if we let one youth meeting go while the one mass go, nobody dies. Okay? When you're in pain, something has to happen. It just hurts too much. Okay? Pain insists upon being attended to. God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our consciousness, but shouts in our pains. It is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world. Okay? During those painful times, that's when we hear God's voice clearly. That's when, the relationship with God, Christ becomes a lot easier. I see myself in our service with youth, in our church. Like you find someone, fast. Alright, I'll fast for the last 2 days, the last 2 weeks. Okay? I'll fast I'll start tomorrow. Okay? When does tomorrow come? Alright, I'll tell you what, I'll give up the meat, but I'll have a veggie burger, but with cheese in it. Alright, that's the compromise. Okay, well, that's good. And you find the same person gets into like a huge difficulty. Now come to this person and say, alright, you know what, fast for meat, have cheese. That person doesn't even want to eat. They've lost their appetite. Before they couldn't live without milk and cheese, now they just don't feel like eating. They have now gone to a higher plane. They now are a lot more sensitive to our mortal selves. They now realise that we're not invincible, we're not all powerful, we're not almighty. Okay? They now realise that there is another path. That it's not about cheese, it's not about meat, it's not about this. Something hurts and it needs to be attended to. Okay? That's when if people are going to hold on to Christ, it's during those times, the difficult times, the tribulations, the trials, that's when they hear God's voice beautiful. That's when, pray, alright, see someone, I don't want to see anyone. Fast from food, they'll fast from food, and from going out, or from seeing people, from everything. They just want to stay by themselves and want to figure this out because something needs to be attended to. We choose a path for ourselves. So everybody here, and there's a bit of planning, alright, so we know, oh, God, I really like this person. I'll use that as an example, okay? I really like this person. Well, I think I've found the right one for me. That's her, or that's him. Okay? What if it's not? If we make these plans and we've decided and we've seen everything, okay, and if that person is the wrong person for us, and God just wants to change that, wants to save us from all this hurt down the road, and just change that road, and then there's a breakup or so on, that's going to hurt. And it's not hurting because, oh my God, it's suffering, whatever. It's hurting because God is working His people. He's fashioning His people, and He's helping His children grow. Because believe it or not, the way we are now might not necessarily be good enough for heaven. Like we've got to realise that the person that I am now may not be good enough for heaven, but the person I can become is different. That's why we say, where He leads me, I'll follow, because it's a journey, and it's a journey of growth. Okay? It's a journey of growth. And so in a lot of these times, the more we hold on to our own plans, and this is what I want, anything else, is off the plan, then it's going to hurt a lot more. But you find the saints and the fathers, what do? They submit their life to God. Okay, we take an example again, let's say St. Paul. Okay, St. Paul really, really, really wanted to preach to the Jews. I mean, he tried to kill so many of them already. Let's try to do some good, right? To undo the bad. Okay, it didn't happen. You see the vision saying, what? A Macedonian man, Greece, saying, cross over and help us. And so he ends up going over there. And he ends up being an apostle to the nations and preaching to all of Europe instead. Okay? Is that what he wanted to do? No, but that's the way. If this is where God's going to lead me, then that's the path. Okay? Your plan might fall apart because there's something better that's been prepared. And for us just to leave our way and go onto a path where we don't know what's going to happen, that's a very scary thought for us as human beings. Sparing the rod. The beautiful proverb says, the father who spares his son the rod hates his son. Think about it. We are kids and Christ our Father. So when you pray, say what? Our Father who art in heaven. Right? So that if sometimes, for the sake of the salvation of his children, the rod has to be used. Going back to the C.S. Lewis quote, sometimes if the person's not going to listen, right, yeah, we need to get a megaphone and we need to hurt this person's ears to rouse a deaf world. Okay? Of this quote, again, C.S. Lewis, we're not doubting that God will do the best for us. We're wondering how painful the best will turn out to be. That's the thing about all these people. Is like, if we think about if I submit my life to God the way St. Paul did, is it possible to ever call one of us here an apostle to the nation? Is it possible to call one of us here a saint or a monk? When we don't look down that path. We don't think, what can possibly happen to the church and to the world because of me and because of my faith. But that's a challenge that God's challenged each of us to take today. Blessed are those who mourn, so that we mourn and we walk down that path of pain and of tribulation and we overcome, so that we are worthy of the goodness. This is leading on to the next point. The refining pot is for silver and the furnace for gold, but the Lord tests hearts. Okay? We'll go back here. This is a gold furnace. Okay? There's molten gold in that furnace. Right? It's so hot that the cast iron thing that's in is glowing red hot, as you can see. Okay? This heat is so strong that it has melted the gold. But the heat that melts the gold, guess what it does? It absolutely incinerates all the dust and all the impurities and all the dirty stuff and all the bad things that are in the gold. Because you get the gold from the ground and it's just got potential for nice shiny gold, but it's not nice and shiny yet. It's actually, if you ever see it coming out, it's actually like pitch black. Okay. And so it has to go through the furnace, and what might melt us, bring us to the point where we are molten. That's it, there's no more physical form. Down. But it is removing all these impurities, it's cleansing us. So another thing about these tribulations and about these trials and about this pain is that it makes us stronger. It helps remove the doubt. It helps remove the excuses. It helps remove the stuff that we put up, the walls that we put up between us and God. Okay? Another thing is, if we think about us, and we talked before about God and us being in the hand of God and God influencing us. Okay? If what's needed for the next stage of your life is a shield, now that you're molten, now that you're broken into pieces, God can rebuild you back in the way that He wants. I will bring the 1/3 through the fire, will refine them as silver is refined, and test them as gold is tested. They will call on my name and I'll answer them. I will say, this is my people, and each one will say, the Lord is my God. Okay? So, we're talking about another thing about pain, another thing when we're really, really hurt, when the fire's really, really turned up and we're suffering, we are being changed. That's the moment when we are being changed. That's when our personality and who we are gets formed for the next stage of our life. Okay? Just like the gold, you're molten, but sooner or later, when the heat gets turned off and everything cools down again, you'll find yourself a new person in a new form, with a lot less impurities, with a lot less of that dust and all that stuff on the ground, all stuff that we don't want. Another beautiful verse from Job. Again, there's a lot of them. Job, chapter 5, verse 17, 18. Very, very important verse. Okay. Behold, happy is the man whom God corrects. Happy is the man whom God corrects. Therefore, do not despise the chastening of the Almighty. For He bruises, but He binds up. He wounds, but His hands make whole. The same God that tests you, the same God that has allowed this tribulation is there with you and helping you the whole way. Okay, it's part of the journey. It's amazing how many people say, where He leads me, I'll follow, but then you come like, alright, take one step with God. Oh, alright, not now. I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm too blah blah, all 100,000 excuses. Okay? Behold, happy is the man whom God corrects. So a lot of that mourning and a lot of those situations that we talk, like we said, for Saint Marina the monk, that was an unwanted baby. Okay? But if that's our share, then so be it. Where He leads me, I'll follow. Sometimes God sends a storm to show us that He's the only shelter. A lot of times in those tribulations, and when something comes and we feel like, why Lord, why me? And we don't know how much benefit is in for us in this tribulation. Even the disciples got hit with a storm while Christ was in the boat. Okay? He sent to them so that they can come and call Him and find Him. And even though they were in the same boat as Him, it took them ages before they realized, what's happening here? We can't get the water fast enough and it's filling fast enough. Let's go and talk to God. Whereas that should have been step one. But another benefit of pain is during these times, the really, really difficult times, that's when you know how much a person can take. That's when we really, really, really get to understand and get a glimpse of our potential. That's when we reach maximum potential. That's when we show, alright, this is what I'm really made of. Same thing as the fire. If we just all talk, it's all dust, you're going to get incinerated in that fire furnace. Okay, you're gone. It's the gold, the real pure stuff that comes out. Okay, here's a last quote. It's actually biblical. Master Reese says, I know God will not give me anything I can't handle. I just wish He didn't trust me so much. Okay, for all people, and I know there are some trials, like personally I think the most painful thing that I have seen, thank God not happened to me, but I've seen, was two parents, very, very nice people that had to bury their own son. And that was just too painful. Like, I don't even know how to push on. But we are comforted in the words of St. Paul. It says, no temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. Nothing that God gives us, even burying a child, even an unwanted child, even unwanted pregnancy, we are not tested by more than we can take. Okay? And He will not let you be tempted. God is faithful and He will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But with the temptation, He will provide the way of escape that you may be able to endure it. Like those people that are really hurting, those people that aren't in those scenarios that we're talking about before, those people that are in pain, that person can say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. If life is good, everything is fine, what's your favourite verse about, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. No. There's a time to show it. And these are the people that endure things that knock out others. Like there's some humans that can't handle that. A close person dies and they are out, they are gone. That's it, they're a shell of their former self. Okay? But I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. You read that verse and you say, that means I can take a lot. I can be tested a lot and I can overcome. And in everything that we say, I can't take this anymore, just know you're talking about your own ability. You're not talking about you plus God. You're talking about you. You can't take that anymore. Those people that are in pain, they can relate to Christ on a level that those who are comfortable can't even imagine. But could you imagine a mother who lost her son when can you imagine her during Passion Week thinking about what St. Mary must feel watching her son being crucified in front of her? Like, you would feel something. Pain unites us as humans the way love should. Pain unites us the way love should. Okay, is that you can see a person, you've lost your son, this person lost their son, you don't even care what country they're from, what faith they're from, what colour skin they're from. You know there's a pain that you too understand, that everybody else can just, they can sympathise, they can give pity, they can pat, they can say words, but they cannot feel it, they don't know what they feel. In the world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer, for I've overcome the world. We promise this, we know that this is going to happen. They will persecute you and they will curse you and they will kick you out of their temples, and there will come a time when somebody kills you and they think that they're doing it to please God. Okay, all that stuff is written. So when that stuff happens, we don't think to ourselves, God, why me, why this, why us, why now? No, we think, Amen. This is being fulfilled now. We've heard about it, this is written, we knew about this, we're expecting this. Fellowship of His suffering, it's okay. Even if you think about some of the worst parts, if you think about all the things that are happening in other parts of the world and stuff, and you think, and if they did that to the Son of God, what are they going to do to us? Are we any better? Okay, and again to finish off where the journey finishes off. Okay, we're saying that God Himself will be with them and be their God, and God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There shall be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying, and there shall be no more pain, for the former things have passed away. While we're here, let us mourn for our sins in the words of St. Macarius before we get to the end where mourning will not hold anymore. Okay, and we'll be to God